Hello, my name is Natalie and welcome to The Broken Shift. I am the bedside rebel here to rebel against what is happening in nursing. As I started this journey on this channel, it's only been a few weeks, maybe a couple months. I don't even remember at this point. But as I research and I look into what's happening in nursing, it's just beyond sad. When I look at the number of nurses who want to leave in the next 2 to 5 to 7 years, 900,000 nurses want to exit. They're tired. And I can't stress enough that we need, something needs to be done. And we all know that. I've looked and seen other nurses who have attempted to do things. But I'm starting to think that the solution to this problem are the actual patients that are coming to the hospital. I think that I would love for the patients, that people that use the hospital or may use the hospital or have family members that have been in the hospital or nursing facilities. Grab some water. Or nursing facilities. I think they need to start calling the Department of Health in their state when they go to the hospital. As nurses, I think we need to be handing our patients the phone numbers for the Department of Health. I said Department of State, but I mean the Department of Health in your state. And I'm coming to this conclusion because, again, today, as I'm going through and looking online to see what nurses are posting anonymously, right? Because as nurses, we know that they say there's no retaliation, but if you go into board meetings and things like that at your hospital and you complain, you are a target. They don't want to deal with you. They don't want to deal with the issue. And so when I read this today, I thought this is genius. And I'm sure some of us have done it, but I'm going to be posting this over and over here on this channel over and over again, because I think I want to make sure that patients know they can do this, that nurses know that they can do this, and because they may not even know. This is something, I saw this and I thought, wow, how many years was I in nursing and things were bad. We're so, nurses sometimes are coming from not so fancy backgrounds, right? So many nurses are coming from backgrounds where they're trying to elevate themselves. They're trying to increase their economic status. And when they do, they don't want that taken away, which is why, the idea of having to take your nursing license go away, it's a big deal, because without it, you can't work. And even though the pay is less than equitable, but it's better than most. And so we don't want to see that pay go away. This is how we live above poverty. This is how nurses survive with their families above poverty levels. So, and I'm finding out late in my life that there's other ways that you can work your job, and there's other things that you need to do so that you have other sources of income besides your job. But that's a story for another day. If you want me to talk about that, you can, or if you want me to recommend someone who does talk about that, a couple places where they talk about that, let me know, and I will tag it in my comments or in my description box, depending on what platform I am posting on. Now, let me go ahead and read what this nurse says, and then I'll continue to talk. Okay, so the title of this post is "State is Here Because I Call Them." Yes, All the new grads are like, ugh, state. No, homie, go put your monster in the break room and tell state about this hellscape of a unit. State is here because management hasn't lifted one finger for a patient in the 6 months I've worked here. I hope our unit gets rammed by state. We never take breaks. We're bullied. We're understaffed and undersupported. Patients rot away in their beds on this unit, and you're brainwashed to think that state is here to fire you. And you're brainwashed to think that state is here to fire you for having a drink at the nurse's station. Admittedly, an annoying byproduct. If management sees this, I'm using my 10-minute unpaid break to write this. Now, okay, state was here last week too, and today, this is an edit. She says, okay, state was here last week too, and today state and Jaco are both here. I can't make this shit up, y'all. I'm unbelieved. So, listen to me. This is all right. And and I agree with something that she says here. She says we're brainwashed as nurses to think that when state comes in, they're there to fire you. Now, understandably, if something happens, they can fire you, but they can't fire everyone. And if you're calling state and if the patients start calling their Department of Health, their state Department of Health, so whatever state you're in, whether it's Florida State Department of Health, Arizona State Department of Health, Pennsylvania State Department of Health, to report unsafe nursing conditions, I bet you they would start doing something. And I completely agree. I'm going to read a few more comments because some nurses responded to this, and I think it's just lovely. It's just an amazing idea. Let the state come in and let them do their job, right? Because ironically, a lot of times JACO, right, is Joint Health. JACO stands for Joint Commission of Health. No. JC, Joint Commission. I can't remember. I'm looking it up as we speak because, I'm terrible with acronyms, with the translation of the acronyms, but they come and they do audits and in the hospitals. So JACO meaning, it's abbreviation for Joint Commission on Accreditation of Healthcare Organizations. So they're the ones that allow these organizations, these hospitals, these nursing homes to run. So you can call JACO as a patient. You can look up JCAHO, and I will link it down. I will link it in the description box. But I think, we all should know our rights. And why are we scared that these audits are coming in, right? Like, we work at these facilities, the conditions are less than favorable. They clean up and they hurry up and get things in order, kind of, so that when the Department of Health comes in and JACO comes in, so they can pass the accreditation, and then it's back to business as usual. That has to stop. It really has to stop. And I understand that without the accreditation, they lose funding, right? And so that means that if they lose accreditation, and this is what they scare you with, if they lose accreditation, they lose funding, and then they won't have enough money for nurses and to pay you, right? But it's bullshit, because they want to keep running. They will do what they need to keep running, because this is their cash cow. The business is their cash cow. The facility is their cash cow. I'm honestly thinking that this is the route to go. So I'm going to be pushing this. I don't know what you all think. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know. And if you can do it anonymously, because I don't want to get anyone fired. If you have ever called JCO to your facility, a facility where you've worked, and let me know if you have ever called the Department of Health to come in and investigate. So now I'm going to read from some other nurses who have given their 2 cents about this. Okay, so my sister was assistant director of nursing at a very poorly run psych hospital, and she totally did this. She learned to not get overly vocal in the boardroom about things being against policy or regulations because she was always shot down. And she would be targeted. Exactly, they will target you. So if she was a patient, if it was a patient safety concern, she would just call. I guess it was Arizona Department of Health with the issue, and then would have to get a CAP to fix the issue. My sister was the assistant director of nursing at a very poorly run psych hospital, and she totally did this. She learned not to get overly vocal in the boardroom about things being against policy or regulations because she was always shot down and she would be targeted. So if it was a patient safety concern, she would just call the Arizona State Department of Health and Arizona Department of Health and Safety, and with the issue, and they would have to get a CAP to fix the issue. It was actually a brilliant way to do things. She didn't get on any of the higher up shit lists when they wouldn't have listened anyways, and it kept her with a hospital running as safe as she could make it. But be careful if you leave your name. It is on the complaint, and at the poorly run hospital, the CNO, Chief Nursing Officer, would send someone to rifle through the papers and see who made the complaint. She knew this, so she always made it anonymously. Yep, the place really was a shit show. And another nurse says, yep, I stopped voicing concerns and that just got squashed. Started reporting instead. I'm kind of open about the fact that I did it because I'm tired of being bullied into being quiet. I'm privileged enough to have a great family support system if I get fired, and to be honest, wouldn't be a nurse anymore anyway. So I wanted to use the privilege to have a voice. Good for you, sister. Go team. Yep. And someone else says you could always sue if you get fired, but do you have the funds to battle their lawyers? That's the other thing, you know, unless you can get somebody that's going to do it, you know, on a case by case basis, like only if you win the case, then they get paid. If you can find a lawyer who would do that. This is just a shame because, you know, why not? Why not do this? Why not let our patients know that they can do this? Now, obviously wouldn't be anonymous, and you would have to let the patient know that, hey, not to tell that it was you that gave it. So you never know if it would eventually come out that you're the one that gave them the information. But you know what? So be it. Why not? Why not? And so that's why I've decided to just, you know, come here and on my platform, just that, you know, because many people coming through and just sifting through maybe a patient at one time or another. And, you know, the next time you can't find your nurse, the next time you can't find your CNA, the next time you need your pain medicine. And I'm not saying for trivial things, not because don't call the Board of Health because you can't, you don't like the way the hospital food tastes. That's not a good reason to call the State Board of Health. But with that said, when there's safety issues, you're ringing your bell, you can't get your nurse, you can't find the CNA, you've been waiting for hours, and this is not just a one-time thing. Instead of beating up on your nurse, call the state health department of health. Yep, definitely call them. And for our nurses out there working in unsafe conditions, and some of you that have never thought about doing this, I know I never did. It never, until I just saw this today, and I've been a nurse for 30 years. I've been out of the bedside for, I haven't been in the bedside at the bedside for quite a while, but this is just, to me, this is genius. If you could call and you make sure that you don't leave your name if you feel like you're going to be retaliated. How many of you think, drop me a comment and let me know, how many of you think that the hospitals would be forced to do better if patients started reporting them to JACO and the Department of Health? If they started getting visits, if they had multiple calls coming in, if patients called in and said, I had a nurse today that had 8 patients. Or I had a nurse today on PICU who had 5 patients. They would do better. They would better allocate those funds instead of paying the CEOs. And I'm not saying the CEOs shouldn't get paid, but you can't be giving bonuses to the CEOs when your nurses are running ragged on the floor and your patients are not taken care of. It's unacceptable. That should not be the case. Someone else says, a few team members I work with in a different type of work learned anonymous is the way to go. First call I made put me on the radar as a troublemaker. They tried to intimidate me and tried to discredit my professionalism. They learned firsthand how well I understand the laws, how I am a fighter for others and very vocal. Personal, and they know this even as they tried to blame other state. They know this even as they tried to blame other state called on me without certain. I don't know what that they're saying there. Sometimes I knew who did the call. I said, let them think it's me. That thought brings me joy. Oh, so they thought someone else made the call. You're not supposed to be retaliated against for making sure your patients are safe, right? And if you can't do that while you're on the floor, what the hell why do we have a health department that's getting paid? They're coming in just to fudge the papers with the facilities? No, let them come do their jobs. Give them a call, and I'm going to pull a list. Let me see if I can pull a list right now. Please give me I'm going to pull a list and pin it for you guys. I'll do it after. I'll pin it somewhere for you, just in case someone wants a number for their state, because someone's watching this and wants a number for their state, because I think it's about time that these Department of Health Services in these states get to working. It's about time that JACO gets to working. And I'm not, they go in, they have to know, they see the complaints out there. Do you know how many facilities are accredited by JACO that suck? What does that say? What does that say? But here's the thing. If they come in and they can't catch you in the act, what are they supposed to do? So this is why it's great, because when patients start calling in, or the nurses start calling in anonymously, they do need to, and they will have to show up. And those are unscheduled visits. They're surprise visits for the facilities. If facilities knew that nurses and patients would call on them, they would sure as hell do better. They would do better. At least that's what I think. That's what I hope. You can drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think about this. I can read you more, but I'm sure that you have, plenty of stories that you can share with me about whether you did or you didn't and what your thoughts are on this. So drop a comment, hit the follow button, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're watching me on YouTube, so that you can be notified the next time I upload a new video. And you know what? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is, I don't know what the solution is, but the solution is not letting our nurses get beat. I know it's not letting our nurses get beat up, and I know that it's not letting our nurses be run ragged and abused in this way, emotionally, physically, even spiritually. It's like spiritual abuse, and and as the nurses are feeling abused, so are the patients. How many patients are saying out there that they're paying for the care, but they're not receiving it? Meanwhile, go and look and see how much these HMOs, these managed health organizations, how much profit they made, how much their CEOs made. No, it's enough. It's enough. They're running these facilities they're privately run businesses. And they're running their businesses poorly. So it's about time that they get hit in their pocket, because they've been hitting all of us in ours. Both the healthcare workers and the patients are getting hit in their pockets, while they are lining their pockets with millions of dollars. Enough is enough. All right, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. The Bedside Rebel is out.